Hello and welcome to Uncovered, the podcast with your host, Jason Irving. Join me in a journey to understand what's truly happening in your world and the world around you. This is not about how you're living life on the surface. It's about what's truly driving you from under the covers. I'm going to take you on a journey to deeply uncover the reason why you are here, the ultimate purpose in your problems and the way that they have shaped your life up until now. See, I believe you have a purpose, and your problems are the highway towards ultimate realization of that journey towards freedom and the reconnection of your true self. I've been told I have a different spin on most things, and I'll be giving you my understanding of life, love, and what we're all here for, purpose. To get the best out of this podcast, drop what you already know so you can discover what's beyond you. So join me, let's play this game of life and bring on liberation, transformation, and change. Let's do this. Hey, welcome to Uncovered. I'm here with Khoa.
You got that second time.
Second time. I did good, didn't I?
Normally it takes people like 4 times. Khoa. Come on, man. Just think of it as I keep telling people, think of it as a koala, but take out the la.
All right, we got it. We got it covered. So I cheated a little bit, Khoa. I jumped on one of your lives and heard you say I'm Khoa. So I was just like, got it. So, I can't say that I actually did it off my own bat. I used your name, your voice, and managed to throw it back at you. And I still got it wrong first time.
It's the intimidation I put when people look at me.
Yeah, fully intimidated. Yeah. So, look, I'm really excited to talk to you. I remember the first time I saw you, we were in California at an event, and I saw this guy with this biggest smile, the happiest dude I've ever seen, walking around. And I was looking at you, and I was just like, wow, look at you. What an amazing guy. And I was just like, off I went doing my own thing, because I've got my head up my ass a lot, so I don't notice so many things. And then the second time I saw you, I realized you got no legs. I was just like, oh, he's legless. he's missing some legs here. And then I came and chatted to you, and I've gotten to know you a little bit, watching your videos and all of those sorts of things, and just you're one of the most positive guys I've ever met. And sometimes I talk about you in my academy about, people complaining about certain things. And I'm like, what if you had no legs? And they're like, what do you mean? It's just like, well, there's a guy I know who's so much more positive than you. He's got an amazing outlook and he thinks about things really, really differently, and he's missing legs. And, tell me a bit about you. What happened initially? And you're going through a rehab right now too, massive rehab. So tell me a little bit about, how you've gotten, how you think, and what happened in your past that's made you who you are today.
All right. Well, it's been so long since we could travel. It's almost been going towards 2 years since we met over in LA, and what a glorious 2 weeks when I was over there. It was fantastic meeting thousands of people, and even just giving me a chance to travel on my own. So that was one of the things I ticked up out of my bucket list, traveling to a foreign country by myself and just hiring a car straight away and driving everywhere. A little backstory. The first stop I did when I got to LA, have a guess.
McDonald's?
Yeah, you know what? That's always been my mission, to try Macca's at every country to see if the Big Macs taste the same.
You didn't, did you?
Nah. Not in this instance. There was something better than Macca's.
Okay.
It was visiting Gold's Gym, Venice Beach, California.
Okay, because you're a gym freak. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a gym freak, and it's the mecca of bodybuilding. It's where Arnold Schwarzenegger and all the big names in Mr. Olympia trained. It was amazing. That was my first stop, and I was glad to see that. And I forgot what you call it, the outside gym, the one outside Venice Beach. Yeah, but that was in renovation. Yeah, so a little bit backstory. I wasn't always like this. I mean, like my demeanor, yes, but my outlook has changed dramatically. Meaning, back in 2012, I always loved to party. I always loved to go out with my friends, drink. I was a heavy drinker. I wouldn't call myself an alcoholic, but more so, I'll look forward to every chance I get to drink. I guess it was a bonding, a social bonding thing. You know, you got a group of friends, we're all drinking, we're all outside. And that was just my life back then, right? And so nothing unusual. I'll normally get drunk, wake up, have a laugh. But in this case, it did a 180. I went out to a nightclub. Normal day, normal night. Drank again. It's all a mixture of alcohol, vodka, cognac, even a little bit of wine. It's a bad combination, but it was for free. It was a nightclub. It was on the tab. Nothing out of the normal. And then I woke up. December 26th, 2012. Basically 3 weeks of lost of my timeline. And I see my mother and brother, but I didn't know where I was, bear in mind. And you know what was the first thing I told them? Remove my socks, remove my shoes. Because I still had that sensation that my legs were still there. After all, my last recollection was going to a party. And this was on December 9th, 2012. And then suddenly waking up on Boxing Day. I had no clue what was going on. Thanks to the drugs too, because I was battered. But I was clueless. It was only until my mum told me that I don't have any legs. You know that when you're sitting on your bed, you know, you could see your foot sticking up, you know, underneath the blankets.
Yeah.
In the hospital, you got a thin white sheet. It just suddenly dropped off. There was no heel to represent my foot. It was just a sudden curve down. But I didn't correlate with it having no legs because I still felt I had my legs. I was fine at that moment, but it was only when I found out what had happened that kind of took a shock moment for me. I was involved in a car accident. 155 kilometers into the telegraph pole. This was around probably 4 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday morning. I'm not too sure because I was blind drunk. I found out that I was the rear passenger and my friend was driving. Unfortunately, the front passenger died at impact. and my friend suffered severe head injuries. If in hindsight, if you look at it, I'm actually the lucky one in an unfortunate scenario.
Mm.
But yeah, it's been an interesting journey after that, because I was down, but I wasn't down and out. I was down during the period of staying in the hospital. Not for too long though. It was only like a good couple of days until I realized, why do I have to dwell on what had happened? Remember, this is the past. Why do I have to always refer back to, why did I go out? Why did I drink? Why did I jump in the car? It wasn't going to serve me purpose. It made me realize that if I kept looking back, I'm not going to move anywhere. I'm going to be in that low vibrational frequency. I'm going to be constantly sad, constantly hating the world for no reason.
Well, Khoa, look, this is really inspiring, because look, if you think about probably people that you might have met, and I know a lot of people in my academy, I work with them initially about why the past is holding them back, right? And you knew that you, somewhere deep inside of you, that this was going to serve you no purpose. And that is something that is purely inspiring for every person who gets to listen to this right now, because I dwell on things in the past still. And I know that they're not helping me. And for someone like you who comes in and says, okay, I was in this situation. Yeah, I was a bit of a lout and I had all of these things that I was doing. And then 2 days in the hospital, and then you're out and you're actually focusing on your future and what you can do with it. You know, you probably think it's nothing, but people are imprisoned by their past and you're not. So what is it about you that is it a decision? Like, what is it about you that makes you that decided this was not worth my time borrowing the past to lead it into a drastically detrimental future? Like, what is it about you that makes you like you the way you are?
Well, it was the decision I made. It was the choice I made. And the beauty, the realization was, I didn't lose myself after the accident. I was still myself, because when I was getting friends and family visiting me at the hospital, I'll still crack jokes.
Yeah.
I'll make them laugh. I even flashed them. You know, I had a catheter tube up my, you know where the catheter tube goes. And I didn't have any clothing underneath the thin white blanket. Imagine this, the thin white blanket, you know, if it's not heavy, so it can take its time to gradually go down once there's air pockets underneath. And when I move the thin white blanket up and down, you know, it kind of shows what's underneath that blanket. And the beauty about it was, it took its time to go back onto the bed. So I know my humor was still there. Lots of people go, "Oh, what the hell?"
Yeah.
So my humor was still there, and I was thankful for that. That means my character hasn't changed me. So I made the choices. That's why I reflected upon why do I need to look beyond the past or look prior? Why not look ahead? It's a choice at the end of the day. I knew that if I wasn't eager to see what's beyond this amputation, then I'll still be secluded in a small room, in a wheelchair. Well, actually, I'm currently in a wheelchair now, but we'll get to that story soon.
Yeah.
And yeah, choices and forgiving.
Tell me about forgiving. What did you need to forgive?
Forgiving the choices my friend made. Although we were in that scenario, you know, party, no one would have expected this. This is the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And I fell into that worst case scenario. But I had to forgive my friend who put me in this situation. Why would I want to hold a grudge? Why did I want to hold a grudge which would be living rent-free in my mind?
Oh,
If I kept
I love that.
Yeah, if I kept referring to, oh, why did I jump? Why did he drive? You know, like if I kept blaming him for the situation I'm in, then all that negativity is kept within my mind.
Yeah. You know, that is so important to hear, because look, I know people like people have no idea what it is to actually hold a grudge and project that grudge onto situations and decide, because you end up living your life based on someone actually owning power over your decision-making processes because of things that have happened in your past. And so there's two things, completely powered decisions that you made. You made a decision to move on with your life, and you also made a decision to not write a book based on somebody else's decision-making processes that have affected your life. And most people can't do that. People naturally use their past as an excuse to decide they can't move on with their future, and they blame situations, things, and all of these things that say, well, because of this that's happened, I can't be this. And you've made two amazingly inspiring decisions to say, well, you know, I'm not going to let this situation get me down. I'm going to use it as a catalyst, and I'm not going to let the person who let me down drive me down a pathway that would actually be dismantling your psyche for the rest of your life.
Yes, that's correct. Because in hindsight's a wonderful thing. Like we make decisions that leads up to this present moment, and we can either have a laugh about it, or we could, you know, improve on ourselves, or we could hate the decisions we made back then.
Yes.
But the decisions we make, it's all part of one's journey. Instead of hating on something, reflect upon it. See what you can do better to move forward. Case in point, I don't hate drinking. I love drinking back then, but to move on, to move forward, I decided out of my choice to completely stop drinking. That was a part of my chapter. And I'm thankful I've experienced it. But as we're going on, I'm always writing it. I'm not the end of the book yet.
Yeah. And that's fantastic, because look, so many people in your situation have basically written themselves off. We're talking about a car accident that wrote off someone's life and could have written yours off. And you're one of those people who, some people really probably don't know where to look when they look at you walking down the street, wondering what sort of look you might get back. Because I know a lot of people who have had these situations happen to them. You look and you like, you get a nasty look back, like, what are you looking at? And all of those things. And you've always got this big smile on your face, big dopey smile on your face, and always got that light. So the first thing that people get to experience is the lights in your eyes, that come to you. So you give people permission to talk about the untalkable, and to open a doorway and a pathway to speak about the hard things that you don't call hard.
I believe, yes, that's correct. I give them permission via the energy that I exert out without expressing myself via verbal communication. It's what you said, when they see me smile, when I look directly in that person's eyes, for example, if they're walking across the street and they strike a curiosity. I'll give you an example. I was on the street probably like half a year ago. I was just sitting at the corner of the street at the lights, and an old couple parked, turning right at the lights, but they were looking at me, and I was looking at them, and I smiled at them, and then they smiled back. And we struck a conversation from a distance because I gave them permission to relax, to show that whatever they ask, they're not going to offend me. I welcome it. I welcome to share my story. But the person next to me who I was talking to, sitting with me at the corner, she had a different perspective. She thought it was intrusive. It's like, what are those people looking at? But I looked at her, it's fine. This is how you create a conversation.
That's right. And you and I are very, very similar, Khoa. We like engaging and horsing around, and I love connection. So I find it really hard right now in daily life right now, where people are too frightened at the moment to even talk, to people because of what's happening with COVID at the moment. So people are sort of separating and dividing. And for a person like me who loves to talk to everyone who I meet, it's one of those things, we like to try and find out who people are, what and why they are. What are you doing, buddy?
No, I was getting annoyed with my camera.
Oh, okay. The in and out. Yeah.
Prior to this recording, I said, should be all right. But then I could see the monitor, and when I was moving my hands, I was like, back.
Yeah, in and out. Perfection.
Anyway, what were you saying?
Yeah. So I think that's really important, where we are right now, which is, wanting to connect and communicate and vibe off each other. And you're one of those people, aren't you?
Yeah, I know people like to say, oh, not again. I don't want to repeat my story tens of thousands of times. I'm like, sweet, this is good. This is good for me to practice my verbal communication by repeating myself.
Yeah.
So I welcome anyone and everyone that's coming up to me and creating a conversation. And the beauty about it is, as what you said, you didn't notice me with my being legless.
No.
I had that same situation when I was at the gym. they struck a conversation with me. It was only until I walked away, then they go, what? Got no legs. So threw them off. So they were just captivated by my beautiful eyes and smile.
Yeah, that's it. Well, no, it is like, it's the truth. Like you're, in my opinion, you're an enigma. You're one of those people who sees the light and doesn't work on the darkness. You can see the light in the darkness. And I think with what we do in our academy, we work on the dark spots. So we work on the negativities, all the bits and pieces, and I bring the positivity to the problems. Right? I show people that there's an absolute gold mine in the problems of life. And you're that living example of that. Like you're a gold mine of positivity in the darkness of life, of having loss, experiencing loss, and having the grief of that, but quickly turning it around and creating a new way of approaching, a new way of living. And you've had another setback. Can you tell us about what's happened?
Yeah. So it's been 8 years. Yep. So 8.5 years since my amputation, since my accident. And I started walking in 2014, 2015. So I had a lot of mileage under my belt for experience of walking again on prosthetics. Hence, I was over in LA, right? But I had this accident roughly just over 2 months ago. I was walking right in front of my gym, and it was raining, but I do walk in the rain, so I had no qualms about walking from A to B in the rain. But in this instance, I somehow slipped and fell on my knee. Knee as in robotic knee, because I'm a above knee and a below knee amputee. So I fell on my above knee side, which impacted my osseointegrated leg. I've got osseointegration. That in turn, that force of that fall, at that time, I thought I fractured it. I was in agony. My staff pulled me to the side, and we were waiting for the ambulance. And guess what? The ambulance never arrived. So I had to tell my friend to drive me to the hospital, emergency department. Got the X-ray. It wasn't good. Not only did I fracture it, I snapped it. I snapped my bone.
Oh.
Yeah, I snapped my femur. So your femur is I think it's the strongest bone in your body. And I put 100% in, managed to break a bloody big bone.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a little hairline fracture. It was 2 bones separated, cracked.
Wow.
So that put me 2 months in a wheelchair so far. But I had the green light only a couple days ago on Thursday to load again. So this is the 4th day that I've been standing.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, standing so I could load weight. Not walk yet because I'm not confident.
Yeah.
Not at the moment. But yeah, I've made use of my beloved wheelchair. not that I'll stick with it, but yeah, it's comfortable while it lasts. But my main goal is to obviously walk again and be independent.
Wow. And so, you 2 massive setbacks, and like, did you feel down at all? Was there any shit that went down in your psyche? Were you normal, Khoa? Were you actually normal and getting upset, or did you get angry? Like, fuck, mate, like, what is wrong with you? At all?
I tell you, I'm still saying, you know why? Because I as soon as I fell, I was in agony. I had to pull out my leg because I was in pain. I knew something was wrong, and the ambulance didn't come. We only found out that there was a strike, so they weren't going to come. Only if I was dying. When I was in my car going to the hospital, I told my staff who was driving me, "Hey, let's go buy Macca's and get an apple pie. I'm hungry." Prior to going to the hospital, while I'm lying on the chair, like kind of in agony, I go, "Hey, I'm going to buy Macca's. I'm hungry. Give me an apple pie."
Did they come get you one, or did they?
Yeah. Went drive-through.
Oh, Jesus, mate.
Went drive-through. So I had two of my staff in there, in the car. So we all had apple pie, but they're bewildered. What the hell? We're supposed to go to the hospital, but you told us to go get food. Okay, don't worry. Just eat.
Do you need
I'll pick me up later.
Now, did you do this, Khoa, just to calm these guys down, or did you do it because you were hungry? Like,
I was hungry.
Okay, fair enough.
No, I was hungry, and I knew that it will also kind of ease them down too, because
yeah,
again, it's a situation where, like when they look back at it, they go, "Man, if I was in your situation, I wouldn't do that."
No, I wouldn't. I don't eat McDonald's anyway, but I wouldn't go and do that at all. I think that's, I guess, a thing. Like when I look at you as a person, Khoa, I see a person who wants to make other people feel better. This is a deep subconscious part of your programming that you do. So even when you're in pain, that part of your subconscious says, I am destined to make other people feel better around me. And I would suggest that was probably happening in your psyche, because I'm assuming that you're probably a little bit born like this sort of type of person that would uplift a situation, people around them, simply because you're you. And I think you're probably born with this type of nature, right? And so what you probably would have done, which is your normal, hey, everyone's feeling a little bit ragged. What have I got to do to uplift this situation? Probably first before your hunger, because when I watched you in California, I was watching you as you were walking around, because you're one of those people you can't not see, even though you're short, right? Yeah, but you walk around, and every person felt like they were taller after having a conversation with you, and I found it really, really intriguing to watch a person who made people feel taller, and that's probably the reason why you're here on this planet, in my opinion, is you make people feel taller, give them permission to actually, maybe they can strive for something, because you're giving life not just a go, you're giving it a red hot go. You're a person, like, look at your body, like you're muscly as muscly can be. You haven't stopped. Look at you. God, I wish I had those muscles. You haven't stopped. You haven't used life as an excuse. You've actually used life as an opportunity. And I think people need to know this. You've had two major setbacks, which could have crushed. This one could have crushed you, but you're in that place, and you've got to gain that confidence back in your body again. But you being the person that you are, it's like a no-brainer. You'll get there, and if there's another setback, I know that you'll be able to get through that as well.
Yeah. So talking about the chapters that I'm writing, this is like an unexpected chapter where you had to fill it in. So my plan isn't to fall. My plan is to live the life I can live with what I have. But this is like a sudden booyah to test me.
Yeah.
And I think I'm doing well. I think I'm doing well in response to what had happened, because when my surgeon saw me, they go, man, what the hell did you do? And like they're stressing out. They go, oh, just fix me up. Doesn't matter. Give me more scars. I've got plenty of scars. Like they they want to minimize it, but they're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like I'm still looking at the good side. Every scar on my body reminds me of who I am. Reminds me of where I've come from. Like this scar over here, if you could see it.
Yeah.
This wasn't from the accident. This was from bike riding when I was young. It's a reminder that I had mad fun.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. Every scar on your body. So
look, dude, I was just going to backtrack there. It's a reminder that you had fun, whereas everyone else is like, hang on, that's a reminder that something really bad happened. You see your demeanor, like your demeanor is so different to the human psyche, the normal human psyche. I think everyone needs a bit of a taste of how you represent life and what you do, because a lot of people can get really down on themselves, and not people are, especially now, there's not many naturally positive people based on setback, right? Usually people get really down on themselves and really struggle. So I look at you and see you as an inspiration to see the way in which a scar in your life is looked upon, because usually what people do with scars is they say, this happened to me, and because this happened, I can't be what I want to be. Whereas your translation is a very different translation. You were having a great time, and then this situation happened, but it reminds you of the great time that you had.
Exactly. Like, sure, we can look at our scars and look how we got those scars, but we can also look at it again, rather than focusing on the negative, focus on the positive. I think that's how I am who I am. I've always focused on the good side, rather than putting my energy into the what if, should have, could have, would have. I focus on the brighter side. More emphasis.
Look, I'm just going to call this out as I see it. Most people that I have met who focus on the bright side are faking. And their internals, they've got a really messy internal system, and they don't want anyone to show it, anyone to see it. And then because I've worked on people who are hyper positive, and you're an anomaly to this again, right? You're not normal to these scenarios. So I'm calling you out as an anomaly, not as you've got shit that you're hiding. Usually people would come and see me and they have this hyper positive outlook, and I'd say, now what's really going on underneath is this, and this. And then they'd be in tears, right? And they tell me all the stuff that they weren't telling the world based on hyper positivity. But again, you're an anomaly to that. I don't see you that way. And that's why I really wanted to have you on my podcast, because you're actually the real deal. So most people do fake positivity, and they put a layer to the front, how everyone wants, how we want to be seen. And then the layer behind is actually a time bomb ticking, right? And that's the normal process of people who look on the bright side. But you actually you do that properly, in my opinion. Because when I look at you, because I can look beyond eyes in the front and I look deep down in people's soul, and I can't see all this drudgery and mess and disdain and despair and distraught and depression and all of those things that I usually see in people who are hyper positive. But I can see the bullshit in people the moment I see their face. But you're different, right? And this is why I was so excited to talk to you, because I'm intrigued by the type of person that you are, because you are very, very rare. Very, very rare. And I've never, to be honest, I've never met anyone like you who actually bleeds from the front positivity and actually owns it from the back end, in the basement, in the corners of those areas. You actually don't run the thing that I naturally see in the hyper positive vibe of people.
Thank you. That's who I am. That's how I've been raised. I guess it was a build up through my childhood, my high schooling years. You know, it's a building block, and it only increased it when I had my amputation, because I like to, like, it's not something you can hide with my amputation.
No, except for me. But yeah, but the normal people, they notice, and I'm just a non-noticing guy.
Yeah. That's why I'm a number plates.
Yeah.
It kind of throws people a lot out, because they're when they're looking at you're driving. I mean, if someone reads my number plates, it says no legs, by the way, but indirectly saying it, so you had to guess what it says. But when people actually decode my number plate, and they go, why is this? Obviously, the car's got wheels. Why is it no legs? What? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I'll give you another scenario. When I went to a panel beater shop to get a quote for a damaged side panel on my car. This was like 2 years ago when the hails came. Right. I pulled into the panel beater shop, and the panel beater guy, he was looking at me very funny. It's like he's kind of like, you know, doing his work, panel beating, but while looking at me, pulling into the driveway, he's looking at my number plate, which I knew. And as soon as I opened the door, stuck my legs out, stood up, and then he looked at me, and then he looked at the number plate, he looked at me, and he started laughing. And as soon as I knew he laughed, then I started laughing. And he goes, you're funny.
Yeah, but it's good. It's like being able to put light into a touchy subject. I mean, you think about life right now, there's so many touchy subjects that we don't know what to say right now. We can't call anyone anything at the moment without it being a touchy subject.
Yeah, I guess majority of people don't want to offend other people.
Yeah.
Because in this subject, amputation, we're a dime a dozen. You know, there's not many amputees that you see walking around.
No. Right.
So I get very excited when I see an amputee. I strike a conversation like that. Yeah. I'm a chitter chatter. I'll bring you to another story later. But the majority of people don't know how to react in a situation when they see someone as famous as, as a shining star like me. They go, what do I say? Like, do I look, like, what happens if I ask what happens? Like, how'd you lose your leg? Would you get offended? That'll be going on their mind.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I only know, I know there was a car accident, but I didn't really know what happened, simply because I wanted to know who you are. Like the car accident didn't really, or your history didn't really matter to me, because I just wanted to know your demeanor. I just wanted to know what made you tick on the inside and what made you you. Because you are quite an extraordinary human being, in my opinion. I hope that everyone who listens to this gets a little bit of inspiration about how you can look at life.
Yeah. On a side story, I feel sorry for people who have to drive me around. For example, my mum. When we went to see the surgeon last Thursday, and there was a lot of amputees, but every time I saw a new amputee or someone in a wheelchair, I started a conversation with them, and it would last like 10, 15 minutes while mum's just at the corner waiting for me, talking, laughing. And then when I roll off to another, around the corner, I'll see someone else again, which I don't know, and I'll start talking. But yeah, it's that. It's just seeing, I'm just giving light to other people, because majority of people who I come across who are in a situation like me, they're kind of more on the serious side.
Yeah, 100%, and feeling not so good. Right?
Yeah, not so good. And then my loud mouth comes along. I start cracking jokes at, myself, and then, amputees in general, to make them realize, oh wow, this is the way to go. Yeah,
exactly. It is 100%. So look, let's leave it off as that. I think this has been a really, really good conversation, Khoa. And what's one last thing that you can leave people with as a little bit of inspiration about how you tick in life, that can give people a little bit of if you're stuck right now, what can you do to get out, to move? Smile.
It's as simple as that. Smile. Whatever situation you're in or you stumbled upon, just smile. Look at the brighter side in any situation. Some situations can be very dark, but you can always get out of that by pulling yourself back. And
that's what I love about you, because all my work, mate, that I do is I help people put a smile on their disaster zone, to show them, very, very simple, to accept, honor, and acknowledge the limitations, the problems, and the emotions, the thoughts that come up. And it's very, very simple. And when I take people through my process, it's like they actually start to liberate that feeling that was holding them back.
And it's something that we're born with, our facial features. It doesn't take much effort to make your muscles go up this way rather than this way.
Yeah, 100%. Well, that's a good one. So, Khoa, I really want to thank you for jumping on this podcast with me. Now, if people want to watch this podcast, our website is www.wellnessbreakthroughacademypodcast.com. And I'd love it if you could like or share this podcast. And how can we find out about you, Khoa? Is there anything in the show notes that we can put up to find where you are and what you do?
Yeah, you can connect with me on my socials. One of the ways is just to go to my website with all my links, khoanamtran.com.
Okay, so we'll pop those in the show notes. And you've also got a book, haven't you?
Yes, I do. I have. It is my third book, but this is my book. It is called
Legless to Legless.
Legless to Legless. Wait.
Perfect. So we'll figure out how we can get access to that book if people want to have some inspirational reading.
Inspiration when we were.
Hey, that's awesome, mate.
LA, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember her too.
Yeah, she
Yeah, she was you two were the happiest people at the place.
Yeah.
She was so happy and effervescent. I didn't get to talk to her because she was too busy. She was like a superstar. Everyone was
yeah, she was. I was starstruck, look.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. All right, so thanks, mate. We'll jump off and thank you again for hanging out with us. Please like or share this, and if you want to get in touch with Khoa and find out, you know, what his gig is and how he thinks, it'd be really good for you guys to get a little bit of an understanding about this amazing man and how he understands life. All right, thanks, buddy.
Bye, guys.